Hi, I'm Steve Murphy, and welcome to the Insider Exclusive. Today, we are featuring America's best TV legal commentators, Michael Khouri. Stay tuned.
Apparently, Sheriff Corona believes he's above the law, but despite the fact that he's been charged in federal court with federal felonies, very serious crimes which can carry multiple years in prison, he has decided not to resign. The question isn't guilt or innocence. The question is appearance. Public officials, we lawyers, professionals of all type have to be held to a higher standard.
Sure.
Not only should you not do anything improper, but you should not appear to have done anything improper.
I am pleased to have with us today Mike Khouri. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve. I'm glad to be here.
You're based in Orange County.
Costa Mesa, California.
And the name of your law firm?
Buckner, Khouri, and Merkovich.
You are a criminal defense attorney.
And an administrative lawyer as well.
And by that, you mean that you handle some cases with regulatory agencies when licenses sometimes are in jeopardy, right?
Absolutely. Doctors' licenses, dentists' licenses, podiatrists, chiropractors, pharmacists, just about any person that's licensed in the state of California to practice healthcare.
Generally, why do these professionals need to call you as a criminal defense lawyer?
Well, they're generally charged with a crime or being investigated for having committed some sort of criminal act, billing fraud, narcotics offenses, sexual assault with their patients or their clients. And sometimes the licensing boards are the investigating agencies for these cases, and they actually bring a case against the doctors in an attempt to restrict their license, suspend their license, or even take it away at times.
And that's done administratively?
That's done on the administrative level. The state of California has a whole separate court branch called the Office of Administrative Hearings. It hears cases with respect to healthcare professionals. And these judges make recommended rulings to the state agencies themselves that can either adopt the rulings or reject them.
What usually comes first, the criminal case and then the administrative case?
That's difficult to tell. It really is a case-by-case basis. Often the criminal case comes first. A doctor might be charged with raping his patients or sexually assaulting them otherwise, with billing fraud, defrauding Medi-Care or Medicaid or private insurance companies, even with writing false prescriptions in order to obtain large amounts of narcotics and sell them on the streets. The criminal case can come first. The administrative agencies can even take cuts at times into the criminal case and ask the criminal law judge to take a doctor's license away.
And that happens sometimes, I guess.
That happens quite often at the state level, not so much at the federal level.
Once a healthcare professional loses their license, is it difficult to get it back?
It is. These state agencies have rules that require a physician or some other type of doctor to wait a certain amount of years before they can reapply for their license. And reapplication is a tough process. It means that you have to show the state agency not only have you been crime-free, but that you've been doing a lot of good for the community, and you certainly haven't been practicing your profession without a license.
Right. Being in Orange County, something that's been in the news all over the place is the sheriff.
Our sheriff,
Mike Corona.
Our sheriff, Mike Corona, is under federal indictment.
Now, he's under federal indictment for?
Essentially for misuse of his office, taking bribes to affect his public decisions and his public acts as the elected sheriff of the county. He's been indicted, which means that a federal grand jury has convened and has voted that there is probable cause to exist that he's committed these crimes, and the trial is set in the federal court in Santa Ana in June.
Now, only he's been indicted?
No. He's been indicted, his wife and his longtime mistress has been indicted together. It's quite a trio.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing to show up in court all the time, this trio, right?
I would think if I was Mike Corona, I'd be extraordinarily embarrassed. I was sitting in the cafeteria in the courthouse the other day, and in came Mr. Corona and his wife and his mistress. It was extraordinarily uncomfortable, to put it diplomatically.
Now, there have been some watchdog groups in Orange County that have said, look, at Mike Corona, if you're indicted, you should step down. I understand there's no legal way that they can remove him from office while he's indicted.
Well, apparently the County Council of the County of Orange has given an opinion to the Board of Supervisors that indeed there is no way the Board of Supervisors can remove him without adopting a resolution to that effect. And I'd urge the Board of Supervisors to adopt such a resolution in order to force Sheriff Corona to resign.
Right. Because this basically puts kind of a real cloud over the entire law enforcement agency, and that's a big one down in Orange County.
Absolutely. The rank and file deputy sheriffs in
Yeah.
Orange County are wonderful. And it's extraordinary that Sheriff Corona hasn't resigned of his own.
Yes.
He should resign for the good of the county, for the good of the sheriff's department. Certainly if one of the rank and file deputies had been charged with a mere misdemeanor in state court,
right,
that rank and file deputy would have to resign under departmental regulations. But apparently Sheriff Corona believes he's above the law, that despite the fact that he's been charged in federal court with federal felonies, very serious crimes which can carry multiple years in prison, he has decided not to resign, which raises a question of what he is doing, because apparently, by his own admission, he's not running the sheriff's department, but he certainly is receiving 100% of his salary.
And he gets a substantial amount of money.
I understand that the county sheriff and other county heads can make close to $200,000 a year, which for a government salary is quite high.
What confuses me, and it really kind of intrigues me, is the same watchdog group that asked him to resign, as you are saying today too, also brought up the fact that he has some pro bono legal assistance, some well-known attorneys. One of them is Brian Sun of Los Angeles. Why has he got such high-powered lawyers working for him for free? What's behind that?
Well, you'll recall that it wasn't too long ago that Mr. Corona was referred to as America's Sheriff on the Larry King Show. He was singled out by President Bush at a press conference for many of his activities in the Samantha Runyon case. And Sheriff Corona was touted by the Republican Party in Orange County as being someone who could run for state or even federal office. Sheriff Corona was the darling of Orange County, especially those few politically powerful people that make decisions about who can run for office. And I think what's behind what you mentioned with the free legal advice, the legality of which I think is questionable.
Yes.
But I think what's behind that is that people in politics are trying to save the future of Sheriff Corona. In my opinion, his political future is over.
You have a case against the Orange County Sheriff's Department.
Against the County of Orange.
And that case involves two of the inmates who you represent, former inmates.
It's a civil rights case.
Tell us about it.
Two inmates in the Orange County Jail, because of their good behavior, qualified for a program called the Community Work Program. And these inmates were eligible for early release. They would spend the evenings at home. At 6 o'clock in the morning, they would arrive at the Orange County Animal Shelter and they would perform work around the shelter, go home around 6 o'clock at night. They were supervised, of course, and if they didn't participate in the work program, they would go right back to jail. Unfortunately, their supervisor was a sexual predator and demanded that
county employee,
a supervisory employee at the county animal shelter, who decided to tell these women that if they didn't submit to his sexual advances, that he would send them right back to jail. The county took the most vulnerable people and had them supervised by the most predatory people. And it's horrific circumstances that these women were subject to sexual abuse in order to keep themselves out of jail.
This is very embarrassing.
The county should have been protecting them.
Yes.
The sheriff's department should have been protecting them. And instead of protecting them, the sheriff's department let the most vulnerable victims be supervised by a sexual predator.
Has that person been removed from employment at the sheriff's department?
He has.
Yeah.
It's interesting to note that he should have never been working, was never authorized to work with these women in the first place. He's also been charged by the Orange County District Attorney's Office in a criminal case that is set for trial in February.
You know, when you look at Orange County has been known as the bastion of the Republican Party, conservatism. Do you still feel that way about Orange County? The demographics have changed a lot.
Absolutely not, and let me explain. I've been a resident of Orange County since 1980. I started out my legal career in the Orange County District Attorney's Office in 1981. It was a much different place. The county was mostly agricultural. There were lots of rural areas. You couldn't get to Santa Ana from cities like Irvine or Mission Viejo without getting on the freeway because the streets wouldn't go through. Almost all of the county was either an orange grove or a strawberry field, and there were very few people there. Now I believe we have over 2 million people. The orange groves and the strawberry fields are gone. There are office buildings, office parks, housing developments. Orange County is the home of international corporations. It's probably the Silicon Valley of Southern California. Orange County is very diverse. It has people of all different ethnic backgrounds and religions, and certainly English is not the only language that's spoken in the county. You can go all around the county and hear many different languages. And I've seen it grown. Unfortunately, I think it has grown the wrong way when it comes to county government. There was a time when, for instance, the district attorney's office and the sheriff's department in Orange County were the leading departments in the state. We were the training departments for the state. I don't think you can say that any longer.
Would you say the current district attorney's office is doing a good job fighting the gang problem in Orange County?
I think the district attorney's office is doing a wonderful job when it comes to the traditional type of crime that a district attorney's office has responsibility for. Right. I question whether the district attorney's office is doing all it can to fight white-collar crime in Orange County. I also question how forcefully our district attorney is asserting influence on Sheriff Corona to resign.
In other words, he should put more pressure on him.
Well, I think a lot of people in the county would like to see that happen. A lot of people in the county would like to see the Board of Supervisors put more pressure on them. A lot of people in the county would like our state legislatures, our assemblymen and our senators to put more pressure on them, but it's not forthcoming, and I think that's very telling.
Let's go back to, one of the basic fundamental tenets in American jurisprudence is the fact that you are innocent until proven guilty. So, here's my question to you, looking at it from a different side. Mike Corona's been indicted. He hasn't been proven guilty. If he resigns, he no longer, let's say he's acquitted. Let's say he's acquitted. He can't get that job back, can he?
I believe he could.
He could?
The question isn't guilt or innocence. Okay? The question is appearance.
Yes.
Public officials, we lawyers, professionals of all type have to be held to a higher standard.
Sure.
Not only should you not do anything improper, but you should not appear to have done anything improper.
Set a bad example to the rest of the people.
The sheriff has been indicted by a federal grand jury. And in order to maintain the integrity of the sheriff's department, the sheriff should resign. For example, if a judge was indicted by a federal grand jury, or a state legislature was indicted by a federal grand jury, or the CEO of a corporation was indicted by a federal grand jury, certainly these individuals would resign for the good of the organization that they were supposed to care about. Look at the effect on profits and on stockholder interests if the CEO of a major corporation was indicted.
Absolutely. Healthcare in Orange County. You spend a lot of time dealing with healthcare professionals. What do you have to say about the healthcare facilities in Orange County today?
Well, we have wonderful healthcare facilities in Orange County if you can afford them, which I think is a common problem across the United States. The real question is there are lots of people, hundreds of thousands of people, especially children, that need health care, and they can't get it because they can't afford it. We have a system at the state level called Medi-Cal that is supposed to fund services, medical services, so poor people or people who are eligible can obtain those services. Unfortunately, it is so complicated and so difficult for a doctor to deal with all the minutiae of the regulations of Medi-Cal that many simply won't accept it. As a matter of fact, on many occasions I advise my clients, you'd be a fool to accept it because of how difficult it is to deal with the system. Somehow there has to be a resolution of this. There has to be a system devised where people, whether rich or poor, can get the best health care that can be delivered. And we have it in Orange County. We have some great, wonderful medical centers in Orange County.
If you were in a position of, let's say, government in Orange County today, what are some of the things that you would make a priority on your agenda to change?
Well, I think one of the things that needs to be changed is the way criminal defendants at the state level are sentenced. I've handled cases, for instance, dealing with billing fraud against doctors or dentists. You can go to Los Angeles County and get one sentence, or you can go to Kern County and get another sentence if you find it in your client's best interest to negotiate a deal with the district attorney's office. At the federal level, there's something called the United States Sentencing Guidelines, which are advisory on the federal judges. But it gives everybody a starting point to figure out exactly where your client might be in case the client enters a change of plea. And sentences should be uniform, and they are for most part in the federal level, whether you have a case in the Central District in Los Angeles or Santa Ana, or whether you have a case in the Northern District in San Francisco. That isn't what happens at the state level, and that needs to be changed. It will affect, I believe, the overcrowding of our prison population, which is taxing just about every other program in the state. California has become a state of prison inmates. It has more inmates per capita than any other state in the United States, I believe. It spends billions of dollars on warehousing people that don't need to be in prison, that could be much better treated, for instance, drug offenders in programs and intervention groups. I think that needs to be changed. I think the Orange County government needs to be mature. It's still run in many ways, and we see it in the Mike Corona situation, and we see it in how local officials are basically tight-lipped about it. It's still run like a good old boy network back in the old days, like a small county. We're not a small county anymore. We've got everything that LA has. We don't want to be associated with LA. And if you come down to Orange County, you'll see that it's as cosmopolitan as any county in the United States. Got the best beaches, the best restaurants. It's a wonderful place. It was a wonderful place to raise a family. But the government needs to mature, catch up with the way the county has grown from a business and an entrepreneurial level.
Well, let's hope if you're ever in a position to make those changes, you actually try to implement them, okay?
Well, let's hope that.
All right, I want to thank you very much for being on our show today. Would you kindly give out your phone number again, please?
My phone number is 714-432-0990.
Okay, very good.
And the office is right by the Orange County Airport.
Thank you again.
Best airport in the state.
All right, good.
Thank you.
Hi, I want to thank you for joining us on the Insider Exclusive. You can get more information at www.insiderexclusive.tv. I'm Steve Murphy. Thank you.